So I thought I'd just do a video on my full bike packing setup. So looking at the setup as it is so far, I got 71 liters of Ortlieb storage on the back. So 2 Pannier bags and then 1 rack pack. And sticking out the back here, we got a sleeping pad. We got a lock, Abus lock. Water bottle there held on by Blackburn rack, and then a Rock Bros kind of frame bag here. Not the most optimal setup here, but it works for me. And then on the bottom we got another bottle down there, just a smaller one. The front we got a top tube bag here. We got 1 kind of bottle bag on the handlebars here. Could go for another one. It's always good to have, you know, more space for water, or I can just stuff kind of snacks in there. And I got some aero bars. These are just from Decathlon. I think they're around 40 quid. Really good just for being able to kind of move up the setup. You know, if my back starts hurting from being upright too much or haunched over, I can kind of offload a bit of that weight on those bars. And of course they're great for, you know, putting stuff on. So I got a quad lock here, and then I got my Garmin kind of just elastic bands on the other one. I got a GoPro mount here. The extension snapped, but I still use this because you can still clip it onto things, and it's very strong. And I got a little mount here for the remote controller for the drone. So if I'm doing a riding shot, I can, you know, screw that in there. It's basically like a little GoPro mount, and it attaches to the back of the controller. And it's really good just for getting that kind of tracking shot and being able to see the footage and have it stable instead of like holding it loosely on the handlebars or potentially dropping it. And then the front bag here, we got an Alp Kit 13 litre, cheapest that I've ever seen. It was 11 quid, and it's just got 4 clips and they're very strong. And then 2 water bottles on the front on 2 Blackburn racks. These are Nalgene 1.5s, so I got 3 litres there on the front, and they're just held on with, I think they're called Fix Plus straps, just basically ski straps. And helmet, got this little bandana here as well, you know, very cool. Some glasses, these are prescription. So first one, top bag, unclips like that. And I just have my sandals on a carabiner there, just kind of like for quick access to the beach. So this stuff mostly has my camera stuff. So the camera that I'm filming with there, mic, shotgun mic. I got a bum bag here, which kind of just has my stuff in, just like a power bank, stuff that I'd take around with me, headband, some straps. So I got some waterproof trousers, and these are good for kind of securing the leg, just so it doesn't get caught in the cogs and stuff. My sister got these for me. Earbuds, lovely titanium spork. This thing is great. Tito titanium. Some detergent, some cables just for charging, that's USB-C, and then some wireless headphones. Little multi-tool, more like a little penknife. Very nice compact one. I always know where this is because it's always at the bottom of this bum bag. You know, when you reach into something like this sometimes blindly and you're trying to look for something, it's quite difficult to pull something out, but you just know, since this is so dense, it sinks to the bottom and it's always there. And also have a head torch here. This thing's great. This one is a Claris. I think it was like 20 quid on Amazon. Head torches are essential. The funny thing is, I don't really use this much for camping. Like a lot of the times I'd set up in the dark, but I just kind of do it. Just if you just wait and your eyes adjust, you can just see perfectly fine. And by muscle memory, you just remember what you're doing. I don't use it basically because, you know, it's a bit more stealthy. If you're in an area that could be seen, like these things give off so much light, and you know, when you're constantly moving your head, it just is like an eye catcher basically. Anyone can see it. So yeah, that's what's in the bum bag. So I got my drone, and then I just got a few other things in here. I got some like motorbike straps that can like secure things just in case I need it. I got a Opinel, I think this one is a number 12 serrated knife. You know, I haven't really used it as much as I thought I would, for like cutting bread and things, and preparing food. I've got into more of like fast preparation food. So like I'll buy some yogurt from the shop and then just pour oats in there and eat that. Or if I just cook breakfast, I had just kind of like boil some water, put oats in, and just make some porridge, just stuff like that. So yeah, the drone is in this is a Mini 4 Pro, and it's just in this extremely useful hard case that I got from Amazon. I got this basically for a refurbished bundle deal from DJI themselves, and it is such a bargain because you get the screen on the controller, get the Mini 4 drone, and you get 2 extra batteries. And the hard case is extremely good, just, you know, keeping everything safe and compact because it's got a little foam lining. The one it came in was a little soft case, and it just wouldn't be good in this situation where I stuff everything in my bags and compact it down. Then I just got some books in here that I just read, not too much else in here. So we can move that one over here. We got the camping mat. So this thing is so good just for when you set up the tent, you just lay this out. It's good for spreading weight, and it gives you a bit of cushion just to sit on in your tent before you set up your actual like inflatable pad. And it's good for spreading the weight, so the ground sheet's less, you know, less likely to get ruined by, you know, stuff poking through the bottom. And it's just excellent just for being able to, you know, pull up and just sit on it because it's quite soft, and it keeps you very warm. Stops the ground from taking all that heat from you. So these bags here, Ortlieb, you know, they're excellent. I've scratched them up a bit, but they still work perfectly fine. Keep everything in there. At the top, this is basically all the stuff that goes in my tent that I need to basically have a night's sleep with. So we got clothes in here. Just kind of like some merino tops, long sleeve, an extra pair of bib shorts, swimming trunks, a t-shirt, and then just some long trousers, and then merino socks as well. And then here we got the toiletries. So I put everything in its own kind of plastic bag just because it's so much easier to organize, but then it's also, you know, keeps stuff waterproof, keeps water away if it's like my toothbrush and stuff, and I put it in here, it's wet, stops it from getting other stuff wet, vice versa. So a lot of toiletries here and just kind of like medical stuff, you know, tablets, you know, shampoos, gels, moisturizers, deodorant, a comb. I'll tell you what, this deodorant here, Dove 72-hour triple moisturizing technology. This thing is excellent. It actually lasts for 72 hours. You can still smell it and you smell fine, which is just a lot of time. Like I've used like these deodorants that say like, you know, 24, 48 hour protection, and you still smell sweaty. But after going to like a full day on the bike and then camping and then doing it the next day, and you smell your arm and you still smell like the deodorant, like it's excellent. Got a microfiber travel towel. You know, it's pretty good. Not the best thing to, you know, like dry yourself with, you know. It's more you have to pat yourself because if you wipe, it basically just smudges the water on you. But it's compact, it, you know, dries easy. It's just kind of, it's all right. Sleeping bag, so this is a Mountain Warehouse, lightweight down, regular. So I think the comfort rating is to 5 degrees, yeah, and 215 centimeters long, so it's longer than I need. It has a nice hood on it. I prefer to have it, you know, the hood on top. So if I'm sleeping, head down, I can have the hood cover me completely and it would still be open. But currently, since it's quite warm, you know, it's around 20, 25 degrees, drops down to probably like 10 to 15 at night. I basically use it as a quilt. You know, I just kind of use it as a blanket because it's a bit too warm to zip it all up for me at the moment. Then we got this is the best thing ever, like an ultra light down jacket. This is from Uniqlo. It's not really for the outdoors, but for the price of it and what you get is insane. I think it was £75 I bought this for. Compared to like the kind of named brands for down jackets out there, you're talking like a couple £100 for like a good outdoor rated one. This is so warm, packs down so light into this, and it forms as an excellent pillow at night. I washed it once and I thought it was pretty much done, ruined, but it's puffed back out. You can see that other video I've done on my channel. Here we go, we got an Alpkit Cloud Base inflatable pad. Very good, can't complain with this, you know, no issues with this at all. And then we basically just got here like a little silk inner lining for the sleeping bag. So it's like you could just put this on so you don't get your sleeping bag dirty if you sweat. And it's just like an extra barrier, because I find if I just sleep kind of like with skin on the down of this sleeping bag here, it just sticks. You just stick to it and it just feels weird. But this one was very cheap. I think it was like £10 on Amazon. I don't think it's a proper silk one because those ones are like up to like 80 plus £100. And then at the bottom of the bag I just got another clothes bag here. So this is full of clothes that I'll wear if I go to like a hotel, hostel, somewhere where I can look a bit more fresh, you know. I got some Uniqlo thermal leggings in here too, which were an absolute savior in the winter when I was camping, because it's just so much more comfortable to sleep with those. If you're cold in your sleeping bag and you sleep in your underwear, first thing you do, don't get a new sleeping bag, get some thermals or get some nice kind of, you know, skin tight clothes that you can just wear in there, because it makes it so much better. And if you're still cold at that point, in the lining, and then still cold, buy a new sleeping bag. Buy a proper sleeping bag. So let me just hunch down like a little hunchback here and get this all back in here before the flies get in. So on the back right, we got this identical pannier. Let me just make sure the bike doesn't fall over and break the bottom bracket. So first off, just got a waterproof jacket here. This is some kind of like bespoke one. I got it in a charity shop for like £5. Absolute deal. I think it was made for like some kind of estate somewhere. Yeah, I think it was called like Cedarwood Estates or something. So here we got the puncture repair kit. So inside, I got 4 inner tubes, which is quite a lot. The pump, a set of Allen keys. I should have done this in a place where I could have put stuff down on the table and showed you everything. Set of Allen keys, and then I got a set of tie levers as well. Metal ones, so you have to keep them dry, otherwise they might get a bit rusty. And then just some spare kind of like inner tube valve caps. But yeah, always need that puncture repair kit, kind of like it's good to keep it at the top of the bag just for kind of like that quick access, you know, if you're out in the rain. I had to change a puncture in the rain quite early on, and that's when my pannier snapped as well. That was a bad day. I think that was day 6. Not having fun. So here we go, we got the tent. This is a Durston X Mid 1 solid. It's wet currently, nice and damp in there. So I'm gonna dry that out when I put it out. This is the poles, the flick poles, they fold out, the pegs, the stakes, and then they fly. Inner lining separate, so this is, you clip this inside. I separate it because, you know, that thing gets wet and I don't really want this to get wet. Then here we got 2 ground sheets, one that's made for the Durston tent, and then one extra one that I use just kind of like a little tarp to lay out. Currently it's soaking wet, so I'll have to spread that out somewhere. It's good to cover the bike as well, you know, if it's going to be raining or you want to hide it. This is the Durston one. And then I also just have some extra stakes in here and a stake with a line on it if I want to do, you know, it's always good to have some cord. You never know what you might use it for. Sometimes if I'm worried about the bike, if it's just lying next to the tent, I'll tie it, you know, to the bike and then tie it into the tent. So I'll feel it if it's been moved. And then also you can do a perimeter if you're extra anxious about camping. I did do some on the early days, like a perimeter around the tent just to deter animals. And it did work. It did work on one day when some deer were kind of a bit curious of the tent. It's quite funny. So here we go, we got a 20-litre kind of foldable bag here from Decathlon. This is good for you just going out to get some shopping. I intended to get it, you know, for that idea of, you know, posting up at a place sometime and then doing some hiking and taking some stuff with me. But the bag itself, pretty terrible. It's basically just like a sack. Like you can hold it like this on the shoulders, not that comfortable. But it does has 2 straps as well, so it was quite cheap. It's a strange little thing. This is the microfibre inner lining for the sleeping bag again. And then here we got some waterproofs. So waterproof socks, seal skins. I saw some reviews saying that they didn't work for some people, but kept my feet dry completely from external water. Problem is, if it's too warm, you start sweating in them because you're basically just wearing big bags. So seal skins, yeah, they're fine. And then I got some waterproof trousers here from Mountain Warehouse as well. That's the trick. You basically need to have your socks, you know, they'll probably finish about here, and then have your waterproof trousers cover them, you know, just so you don't let any water in the top. That's probably what people were doing when they complained about that, which is just quite funny. And then I got a spare tire. These are 2 new tires that I put on in the last week because my other ones are basically just ground to the ground. Yeah, it made the riding so tough. So change your tires if the tread is worn down. And then I just got quite a comprehensive repair kit here. So I got quite a lot in here actually. It's always good to have a big repair kit. Got some brake pads which I've been switching over slowly. Toothbrush to clean the chain, rag to clean the chain, some pliers. If you want to change your brake pads, you need pliers as well. If you got the ones with the clips that you need to bend. Some cord in case stuff breaks in the tent. Spare Ortlieb parts. This is a spare strap, this bit, part that clips onto the bike. So on that day 6 incident in the rain, basically I had a rock strap on the back to secure, you know, my mat and some other things. Got caught in the wheel and then it dragged and caught this and ripped it right off. So basically I couldn't really clip it on properly. Actually it still had one clip, but not the 2 that you need. And it performed fine for 3 days, but decided to get a spare just in case that happens again. Got a chain breaker tool which saved me on day 16. So I was traveling through a national park between Cortina and Dobbiaco in the Dolomites, and my derailleur hanger snapped. I was going down this bump, it was like a little riverbed kind of thing on the trail, and the back wheel just sunk in, and then the derailleur just kind of like, it sunk in so much and the derailleur hit a rock and it just snapped. Broke the chain, cable tied the derailleur back to the frame, and then I rolled the bike to the next town, got a single speed chain fitted to it, and then I just cycled until I could find a replacement part, which I luckily found the next day. So if I didn't have this, I wouldn't be able to take the chain off. So make sure you get one of those, people. More spare parts for the Ortlieb bags. More mounts here for my Garmin. I also have a spoke replacement, chain replacement. There's quite a lot of stuff in here. The things I don't have cables. So if my cables snap from the brakes or the gears, I got to get those changed at a shop. Same as the housing for them. And I got spare bolts for the any kind of like attachments. By the way, the frame is a Tubus 29-inch Classic. Absolutely worth the money. It was quite expensive, I think £85 I paid, but haven't had to tighten the bolts once, and it hasn't had any trouble at all. It's so solid, so solid. So if you want to wash your clothes, get a laundry soap bar, put it in the sink with some water and just scrub your clothes. You know, it works quite well. Oh, I also got a spare derailleur hanger, which I think is in here. Here we go, we got the spare derailleur hangers here. And I got a spare bit of gas for cooking. I think a B-free water filter. I bought this because I thought it could be like an essential, but in Italy, you can't go a day of cycling without finding water that you can drink. And I drink a lot of tap water. People might not want to do that, so this might be an essential for them. But like the taps are in cities. This is a dry bag. I think it's a Sea to Summit dry bag, and it's like, I think 3 liters maybe. And then just some spare lights and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the panniers. So, in this this bag here in the center, just got some random stuff in here. Some sun lip balm, might put some on now. So just Nivea Sun, my lips are probably very shiny. Keys to my locks, an Allen key, and a lighter in little plastic bags. Got a little knife here I picked up at a market in Italy. And then on the other side is the big section. So I got some Skin So Soft to deter these flies and mosquitoes. Put some on now. It's got citronella in, and it wasn't really intended for this purpose, I don't think. But, you know, the camping community and the Skin So Soft community, you know, made it that way. And it does kind of work, but once you spray on yourself, they kind of stay away for a bit, but then they do eventually come back. And every time I look over my shoulder, you know, clothes don't protect you. Like, the mosquitoes are eating me through like this thick Van Rysel top here. So, you know, I could complain about mosquitoes a long time. Factor 50 sun cream here, you know, just for the body. And then I also have the trowel, you know, we all know what that's for. Pooping. And then here I got some muck off chain lube. Smells nice. And then a brush here to brush the chain if it gets really dirty, or just the bike in general. And then here I also got a multi-tool, and then you know, the multi-tools are always so weak, so that's why I carry other Allen keys as well, because these things, like, if you tighten something a bit too much, it'll just explode in your hand. Mine's got a bit rusty. I left it out one night when in Sicily, when a wild dog came up to me and it started getting a bit frisky. It like got a taste of the tuna, because I had a tin of tuna, put it in a plastic bag, and it found it, went through it, ate it, and then it just started jumping up at me. I think it just wanted more food. And I had the tool in my hand doing something to the bike, and I just dropped it, and the dog ran off with it for a bit and brought it back, and it got a bit rusty. So like I said, in the middle frame, got the Avis lock, you know, very, very versatile, very flexible kind of lock. That's the one I usually do if I just pop into a shop or a cafe. And I usually padlock the panniers to the rack, and I'll do this lock around the wheel and the frame. If there's no post nearby to secure it to, that's what I do if I'm just kind of like, you know, going around, because no one's going to be able to move that without me noticing, because the bike is going to be weighing like 30 kilos. And if you can't roll it, it's just almost impossible. A lot of people would like pull their back doing that. And then in this bag here, this middle bag, I think I talked to it already, detergent, tablets, sun cream, a mouth guard, you know, quite an unconventional one, but you know, I've had a few friends kind of like, one friend fell off the bike and like smacked his teeth, and I've had a few other friends that just kind of like fell on the curb. They weren't even riding bikes and they just smacked their teeth. So if I'm doing a descent in like rain and it's slippy, or if I'm in an extra rough town that's like, you know, got some terrible drivers, I'll wear this because, you know, I don't want to eat the curb basically. Got some disinfectant spray that a chemist gave to me. And then I got a bunch of bars here, which I actually have more than I thought, so that's quite nice. Just some random bars, you know, like usually fruit, grains and stuff like that. And then I got the padlock here. So it's always good to just carry a small padlock around. You know, if you stay in a hostel, you know, you could use it to secure your locker. And then also I use it for the panniers on the back as well. So on the front, Garmin Edge Explore, still going actually, so let me just finish that. It's currently just glitching out. So you can log it to Strava and like Komoot and basically download the routes and it will follow it. But I just use the inbuilt navigation system, which works sometimes, other times, you know, not so great, but most of the time it's pretty good, and it's got a long battery. Quad lock mount here for the phone. So this thing has been, you know, an absolute kind of like savior, like an essential bit of kit, to be honest. Like clips in, absolutely solid. It wobbles a bit, but like it's not going to come out. The case is also magnetic. I don't know if anything else is, so you can stick it onto stuff. And the Allen key came loose in the quad lock thing, but I just tightened it up and it was, you know, it was fine. That was from like 5,000 kilometers of cycling, rattling around. And like I said, GoPro mount here, mount for the remote controller for the drone. And then here I got a Kryptonite D-lock, you know, quite a big one. And it's nice to have the larger circumference one because there's a lot more stuff you can secure it to, and it's a bit longer. And it's heavy, but like, I just like that extra security. And I have bike insurance as well, so it would only pay out if I, you know, demonstrated evidence someone got through this lock. But there's so many what ifs, you know, like what if they took the lock with them? What if the lock is not there? All that kind of stuff. But doing what I can. Oh, and I got a Van Rysel helmet here with a GoPro mount on top as well. And a Apple sticker that's been there since the first week of the cycle. Don't know how it's still there. So I got like some like wasted space in here. I got a Moka pot, which I'm probably going to rock up, you know, have a coffee soon. You know, you put in ground coffee and using the stove, excellent. Salt, you know, salt in the porridge, salt in your food. And usually, you know, if I go to a hostel, there's never usually salt there, so comes in pretty handy there. Napkins, you can see everything's in its own plastic bag again. Tins of tuna and some soup. I usually go for soup because the pots I have, I'll show you in a sec, you're only supposed to boil water in them. You're not supposed to cook the food in them. So I did that once before and it burnt to the bottom. So I can only cook stuff that, you know, goes into boiling water. So pasta wouldn't really work.